Prediction Markets Edge right here on the early line. A half hour of fun on a Monday. No better way to start your week. It's Donnie right side, and it's Joe Ranieri. Hot topics here, and we give you that look of where you can invest your money. Yes, buying those contracts or no contracts with a fade here, Joe. The NBA playoffs are starting this weekend as well. And also, take a look at the NHL playoffs, which we'll get into a little bit later. The Masters just ended. More fun to be had in these predictive markets, and we're ready to go.
Donnie, I can't wait. Definitely now that the playoffs are coming, not only for the NBA, but for the NHL will be here. These predictive markets are great markets to invest in here, series by series. So love it. Can't wait to dive in.
Take a look at some fun here. And also, when we understand the predictive markets, trying to build on the Philadelphia 76ers and the Orlando Magic, that game's going to take place Wednesday on the Kalshi Marketplace. We don't have a market just yet, Joe, but we saw the favorite here, the Philadelphia 76ers at a -1. It'll be interesting to see where that changes, if it does, up to Wednesday, with the Sixers being the home team. Supposed to have this game on Tuesday because the Flyers are home in their own building. They had to push that game back one day here. So building into that, Joe, if you did take a contract out, do you think the Philadelphia 76ers will hold home court advantage in that game, or the possibility of the Orlando Magic coming on the road and stealing that game and moving on into the playoffs here, where the Sixers would have to fight their way through a second chance game?
There is no way I can trust the Orlando Magic to do anything. I mean, they had a chance, Donnie, coming into yesterday, to guarantee them not having to play in the play-in, right? All they had to do was beat the scrubs of the Celtics, and they couldn't even do that. So I definitely think that Philadelphia at home is an advantage here. Orlando has been much better at home than they've been on the road. I think even without Embiid, all signs point to Philadelphia having a legit shot at winning this game, and likely it's going to be a little bit lower scoring, but I absolutely think Philadelphia is live here.
How about Miami at Charlotte? This game's going to take place Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m. The favorite in this game is the Charlotte Hornets, but Miami's the road team. If you look at just winning the game outright, Joe, Charlotte is favored at a 66% chance to do that. So if you just take them essentially here with a $100 investment, that pays back $150. But if we include the spread in this, Joe, currently trading at 48 cents for Charlotte to win by 6.5 points or more, which basically means a 7-point victory, a $100 investment pays back $209. That's plus money. Miami at Charlotte for all the marbles.
Well, so here's the deal. You have youth versus experience here, right? You got a very young and inexperienced Hornets team taking on a very experienced Miami Heat team that did it a little different this year, way more about pace, right? So, all right, my question is, are the Hornets going to want to get into a up and down battle with the Heat? Does that make any sense? Somebody has got to play defense. This is where experience matters, Donnie. In moments like this, Charlotte, great run. They're an inexperienced team that has never been in a spot like this. I think getting those points with the Heat might be the safest bet on the board here in the play-in.
Going to need guard play to show up here, and Tyler Hero from three-point range, absolutely. But if you think that he can score, Joe, 20 or more points in this elimination game, a $100 investment pays back $154. Let's move it over to Major League Baseball. We talked about this game earlier on the early line. Washington, which is the Nationals, taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Paul Skeens will be on the mound today. A 66% chance, including the marketplace on Kalshi, the victory is going to go to the Pittsburgh Pirates. Washington at 34%. If we're taking a look and saying you think that underdog can get it done and upset Skeens on the mound, Joe, a $100 investment pays back $295 if you take the Nationals here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, call me crazy. I mean, a lot of confidence this Washington team comes into here, having swept Milwaukee for the first time, Donnie, since 2011. And they haven't won a series like that or swept them on the road since 2006. So to me, it's about the offense. The way the Nats are swinging the bats right now is impressive, but it's not going to be impressive watching them go up and face Paul Skeens here at home. This is a spot where I would be looking at the Nats team total in the first five. I'd be looking for that under. And the Nats have done a great job of putting the ball in play. But something tells me the strikeout prop might be the way to look here with Skeens as well.
And also, if you're talking about strikeout props from the Kalshi marketplace, 7+ strikeouts is right around even. It's actually trading at a 53% clip. So a $100 investment for Skeens to get 7 or more strikeouts, Joe, that would pay back $189. Boston taking on Minnesota. That's the Twins at home taking on the Red Sox here. The favorite, it's no surprise. It is Boston, trading at a 60% chance to win this baseball game. So if you take Boston and figure they're going to win this game outright, which again would be on the money line, a $100 investment pays back $162 in this game tonight. Boston, last place. Minnesota, first place, Joe.
Well, the good news is the bats have finally started to come alive here for Boston because they were awful. But nice weekend series there. They should have swept the Cardinals. They let one get away there in the first game, but nice bounce back there in the last couple. Now they're going to take on a Twins team, sending Bailey Ober out there, who, listen, he's going to put the ball over the plate to be hit. And if those bats keep going, Crochet's going to do the rest. Maybe the Red Sox in the first 5, but absolutely another strikeout prop that we're going to look to go up and over with Crochet.
Yeah, just take a look at that lineup here. Outside of Wilyer Abreu and maybe Wilson Contreras here, the .357 weighted on base percentage against righties this year, they have struggled in that lineup here for the Boston Red Sox. Maybe they can break out. And temperature-wise, 61 degrees at first pitch, some rain in the forecast, so not exactly a perfect night to get down the business for either one of those offenses, but we'll certainly let it play out. Texas going to take on the Athletics back in Sacramento, Joe. During the first hour of the show, we previewed this game. Like, hey, man, Major League Baseball, the A's are riding high on a nice win streak. Yeah, how about you 3,000 miles back and then get right back started up in your own ballpark, which is why Texas is currently trading as the favorite at a 54% chance to win this game, Joe.
And they should, Donnie. I mean, Texas has been out west here. They just took on the Dodgers, had a great game yesterday. They've actually scored some runs. The bats are heating up here. And now we're waiting in Sacramento for the Athletics to fly back from the East Coast where they've been for the last week. So, yeah, not great scheduling, not to mention Severino hates this ballpark. He hasn't exactly been great so far anyway, but we already know his numbers at this ballpark are laughably bad. I think Eovaldi will keep the ball in the ballpark. He'll miss enough bats. I like the Rangers to win this game, and there's no way I'd sweat out an under in this game. No way.
Yeah, we don't have those hot temperatures that we like to see in the summertime months in Sacramento, but still light wind blowing out the center field, about 65 degrees, shouldn't be all that bad. As Joe points out about Severino, the fastest way to get yourself in trouble this season for him is walking too many batters, Joe. He's only faced 60 batters on the season. How about a walk rate of 22%? That's incredible. Where you're not even giving up base hits, Joe. You're just putting guys on base. And then you take a look at the lineup, specifically the first 3 guys for the Texas Rangers today against right-handed pitching over the first few, 2.5 weeks of the season. Nimmo, outstanding statistics. Evan Carter, great numbers. And then there's Corey Seager sitting there with a 324 ISO power number against right-handed pitching. Those 3 guys looking to do damage tonight here, and we'll see if it pays off in runs scored here, Joe. But we also take a look at our Fade the Public poll here on the Kalshi Marketplace here. Investments, Joe. So many times we take a look at the regular season. Hey, who do you think is going to win a championship at this point now? But let's actually get focused now that those contenders and pretenders have been separated so far. The question we asked on the SportsGrid Network here is, who is your favorite investment in the NBA's Eastern Conference race? Is it going to be Boston? Is it going to be Detroit? Is it going to be Cleveland or other, Joe? Boston currently leading it right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got to get there, right, first and foremost. And by the Knicks losing and now having to go through with Atlanta and that route, I think the Cavs have the better route to be able to get there. And if it's anybody, I think it's going to be Boston or the Cavaliers here. I think Detroit's youth is going to show up here in the postseason.
By the way, Joe, on Kalshi, Eastern Conference champion here at $9.7 million worth of volume. Boston is the favorite, currently trading at a 41% chance, followed by Detroit at 20%, Cleveland at 19%, and then the New York Knicks at 16%. The fun's just starting on the predictive markets edge on the early line. Make sure you stay right with us. It's Joe and Donnie. We'll be back after this short break.
So much to get into. So much to get into, so little time. Listen, this is a time of year where it's great basketball. Teams that have to be at their best, some teams at their best for 40 minutes, some teams at their best for 36 minutes. But at the end of the day, you got to play your best 40. Otherwise, you're going home like we saw over the last couple of days.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Why are all these contracts being signed, folks? Yes, the players are talented. Yes, they are deserving of it, but it's such goodwill to hand out these buyout arbitration contracts for these young players this time of the year, right before opening day, to get all their fans excited. And notice, right before the Pirates' home opener, not before opening day, for their home opener, to set up.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Kansas City trading as a favorite, Joe. Do we think that's the possibility of that first game?
Yeah, they should make it the Jets, Donnie, so they can guarantee a win in front of their fans to open up the set. I'm just saying. I mean, that's what I would do. But no, I mean, ideally the NFL would love a Kansas City reunion at Buffalo in the new stadium.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
There's a basketball player who's 7'9". He's insignificant on his team. And quite frankly, I don't know if he goes Division 1, 2, or 3 at this point and will be significant. Joe, how can you be 7'9" and not be able to get on the court in college basketball? Shouldn't you be maybe, I don't know, the most dominant shot blocker in the history? I watched Manute Bol be a really good player at times in the NBA.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Right back at it, Prediction Markets Edge. On the early line, Joe, the focus is on the association. I'm telling you, I get angry at the regular season. I love the postseason, and it gets started now. We just talked about that Fade the Public poll, who's going to actually win the East. But the focus before we get there, Joe, who could be in the Eastern Conference Finals matchup? Do you know who leads on the Kalshi Marketplace? It's Boston versus Cleveland at 37%. Do you know who's close involved there? Detroit versus Boston at 35%. So Boston, Cleveland, Detroit, Boston here. The commonality is people think Boston's going to be in that Eastern Conference final, Joe.
Well, again, and this goes back to what happened yesterday, crazy enough, right? So you got the Knicks now, because they lost, have to face the Hawks in the first round. And now the Cavs are going to get Toronto. And listen, no disrespect to the Raptors, but that's the weakest team coming in out of the East in the playoffs here. And yeah, that's an easy one, I think, there for the Cavs. And now they're on the opposite side of the bracket from the Celtics. So it all lines up to me. I mean, Cleveland is looking at, Toronto and then likely Detroit in the first two rounds. Detroit's not going to be a cakewalk, but I do think experience matters. And that's what the Cavs have in this spot, to be able to get to the conference finals. And that, to me, is what it's all about. You got to get there, I think, in order to be able to maximize the profits in this market, Donnie. And the Cavs will have the easier path.
Mm-hmm. By the way, fading the favorites here, if we take a look at Detroit and Boston, those top two seeds, a $100 investment would actually pay back $152. So, yes, you can take those guys conference, but there's just as much money as well in those no contracts if you can find the right scenarios here. Which brings us to our next equation, our Fade the Public poll. Asks, who's actually going to win the Eastern Conference here? Is it Boston? Is it Detroit? Is it Cleveland? Is it a team that we're not paying attention to? Because we said the Philadelphia 76ers with Embiid would have been fun. They're not with Embiid. They're only 2%, Joe, but Boston, the favorite here by a wide margin.
Yeah, by a wide margin there, Donnie. And they should be. Again, experience here is what's going to matter. As good as Detroit has been, and they have been phenomenal, they're not going to be a cakewalk. Nobody's just going to go in and bully Detroit. But I do think when push comes to shove, Donnie, I would much rather have teams that have been there with a Donovan Mitchell, right? Or even a James Harden, as opposed to, or Boston, who is obviously has the rings and the hardware to show for it. I think likely it's going to be one of those two teams that's going to have to win it all.
Let's take a look at the Western Conference champion here. It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of superstar talent out there. The top two teams, which again, it's a wide margin. We saw Boston as the heavy favorite in the East. Oklahoma City currently trading at 58% as a chance to be the Western Conference champion. Behind them is the San Antonio Spurs at only 25%, Joe. And then we have Denver at 14%. Everybody else, 3 and 4% there. The heavy favorite Oklahoma City team, and it looks like they're probably going to match with San Antonio, but the heavy favorite, as we said, OKC, Joe. What do we think about that?
Yeah, well, what I think is the Spurs blew a huge opportunity last night to win that game against Denver, who sat everybody but Jokic, and they still couldn't get it done. So the only guy that sat out for the Spurs was Wemby, and they got embarrassed. They got boat raced in that game. So now what happens? Well, yeah, now you're going to have to go through both Denver and OKC in consecutive rounds in order to make it to the finals. And as good as they have been, you know, youth and inexperience, you're not getting past Denver in the second round. Sorry, not going to happen. I think Denver has already shown that even with their backups, they can beat you, and they have beaten them pretty convincingly now for 3 straight games. I think Denver is the team, Donnie, that if anybody's taking down OKC, it's got to be Denver.
Hey, take a look, and if you do like Denver to win the East-Western Conference, again, not even the championship here, $100 investment will pay back $715 with Jokic and the boys here. So let's take a look at the pro basketball, which is the NBA finals matchup here. The favorite is going to be Oklahoma City versus Boston, Joe, a 21% chance. The secondary favorite, Oklahoma City versus Detroit. The third favorite here, San Antonio versus Boston here. Denver versus Philadelphia, 11.6. I don't know where that crept up from or who's investing in that. That sounds kind of crazy. But the leader, Joe, we're looking at basic chalk here. Number 1 seed OKC, number 2 seed Boston in the East. That's the leader right now.
Yeah, and again, this is one of those markets, Donnie, where you're investing into the repricing of the market as the playoffs move on. You don't necessarily have to have the exact matchup. You just got to have the teams that are going to be in their conference finals. That's what's going to matter, and that's what's going to let you buy in here. So even if you don't think Cleveland is going to win, if you think Cleveland can make it to the conference final, well, then that's going to be the east side of your bracket, because whatever you're buying in with the Cavs being the east side champion, you're going to make money once they get to that finals, likely against Boston. And I think the winner from there is going to move on to the finals. And I think the same thing with the West, right? Tell me who you think it's going to ultimately come down to. Is it going to be Denver? Is it going to be OKC? I think either which way, I think the east side is where the value is in this market.
And sometimes you take a look at fading the favorites once again. If Oklahoma City and Boston is the favorite right now, trading at 21%, you take a look at the no contract trading at 78 cents. So a $100 investment pays back 129. So you get every other matchup, but Oklahoma City versus Boston. One upset there, you'll be able to cash yourself in some tickets, which then brings us up to who is going to win the NBA championship this season. And quite frankly, from the first day of the season, it was always Oklahoma City. They're still the monster favorite. Behind them is San Antonio. What's the discrepancy, Joe? 44% for OKC, 17% for San Antonio. 2 Western Conference teams up top of those standings.
Well, I'm going to say something crazy here, but I think Houston has got some value here. I think they absolutely have some value here. Listen, a month ago, I was laughing at the Rockets and being like, yeah, they're going to be lucky if they make it out of the first round. But, I mean, they looked absolutely broken. You had the Lakers really starting to roll. But what a difference a month makes, Donnie, because finishing the season, the Rockets looked every bit as good as we thought they would with Durant, and it's all starting to come together. I think the Rockets have some value here because, Donnie, they could very well, on their side of the bracket, make it to a conference final here. And what would that ticket be worth then?
Exactly, because you're taking a look once again at winning an NBA championship within this marketplace, Joe. You don't have to win the NBA championship to become profitable. And you take a look at the price points here. A $100 investment on Houston to win the championship pays back $5,000. What if he told you Houston would win a couple rounds and that $100 investment would then be worth $400 or $500? Boom, you cash out. Who cares if those guys actually win the championship or heck even make it to the championship round? There's a lot of value on the table out there. And if you think San Antonio can carry in that, season success against OKC into the playoffs, we'll find out. But a lot of great hot topics here. Continue to roll along on the prediction markets right here on the early line. Show we're nearing its Donnie right side. NBA action. It's really fantastic. We'll be back after this short break.
So much to get into.
So much to get into, so little time. Listen, this is a time of year where it's great basketball. Teams that have to be at their best. Some teams at their best for 40 minutes. Some teams at their best for 36 minutes. But at the end of the day, you got to play your best 40. Otherwise, you're going home like we saw over the last couple of days.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Why are all these contracts being signed, folks? Yes, the players are talented. Yes, they are deserving of it, but it's such goodwill to hand out these buyout arbitration contracts for these young players this time of the year, right before opening day, to get all their fans excited. And notice, right before the Pirates' home opener, not before opening day, before their home opener, to set up.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Kansas City trading as a favorite, Joe. Do we think that's the possibility of that first game?
Yeah, they should make it the Jets, Donnie, so they can guarantee a win in front of their fans to open up the set. I'm just saying. I mean, that's what I would do. But no, I mean, ideally the NFL would love a Kansas City reunion at Buffalo in the new stadium.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
There's a basketball player who's 7'9". He's insignificant on his team. And quite frankly, I don't know if he goes Division 1, 2, or 3 at this point and will be significant. Joe, how can you be 7'9" and not be able to get on the court in college basketball? Shouldn't you be maybe, I don't know, the most dominant shot blocker in the history? I watched Manu Bol be a really good player at times in the NBA.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
What would you get? No. Prediction Markets Edge on the early line, Joe. Now it's time to take a look at some non-sporting events, which you might be interested here, particularly in 2026 and 2027. How about this one in the prediction markets here on Polymarket? Mergers and acquisitions, Joe. Those lawyers get paid a lot of money to have some of these mergers take place here. How about this? Which companies will be acquired before 2027? So you got a year plus at this point. Caesars Entertainment, 67%. Pizza Hut, 45%. Ubisoft, 32%. GitLab, PayPal, BP, all of this, Joe. Millions and billions of dollars change hands. And by the way, before 2027, which means the end of this year, Joe, December 31st, is where these companies have to be acquired by.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Some of the media companies that we've heard a lot about, Donnie, over the last couple of, it's, to me, I think you need to find what sector are you most likely to see this happen in, right? So which one is it? Is it going to be food related? Is it going to be entertainment related? I kind of think, I definitely think it's going to be on the entertainment side. That seems more likely, like where you should concentrate in this market. But don't forget, this market is volatile, and the headlines are going to dictate what happens with the volatility. So, stay ahead of the curve here and the stories, and you're likely able to get in and get out, make yourself a nice profit here.
By the way, Joe, going no on Pizza Hut's acquisition this year at 78 cents here. $100 investment pays back $128. Bad pizza. Who wants to acquire that? Certainly not me. Claude 5. Now, I've been reading about Claude 5 here coming through on some of the social media platforms where I guess I can have that, Joe, type in a few things and it can restructure my entire life and make me a billionaire. Claude 5 released by which date? April 30th, May 31st, or June 30th of 2026. Claude taking control of the AI universe, Joe?
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, they certainly got a really big bump. The problem with Claude right now, though,
Yeah.
Donnie, is people are understanding, like, once they canceled their Chat GPT accounts and invested in Claude and downloaded it, they realized, yeah, your tokens aren't going to take you as far as you thought they were. And next thing, after three searches, you're like, I'm out of money. Like, what do you mean? I got to go. So, yes. Yeah, Claude comes with a different set of headaches, but I think we'll likely get this sooner rather than later here. But I don't think it's going to happen until closer to the end of the year.
Yeah, I have a subscription with Chat GPT. So, like, I start talking to it after, like, I did it like 5 times. Like, oh, you're going to have to pay more money if you want the unlimited subscription. I'm like, stop the madness at this point. I'm just talking to a computer. How much money is that supposed to cost me at this point? But I do hear a lot of things about Claude and whether or not we're going to get that next edition sooner than later. How about oil prices here? They go way up. They start to come down. Now, as this morning, Joe, they're going up again, which the question here asked on Polymarket, what will crude oil hit in April of 2026. Let me tell you right now, we're 2 weeks away from the month of May. If it is $200 a barrel, get out of town. That can't happen at this point, Joe. But right now, currently trading at, what, about $95, $96 at this point right now, which would put you down. Let's just say if it hits 110, that's at a 74% chance to do that. It just seems like it's going to go higher at this point now. Stop the madness out here in these streets.
Well, I mean, the big question is availability, right? And whether or not the tensions will stay high and whether or not supply will remain constrained. If you think that there will be de-escalation and more oil will be flowing, then you know what's going to happen, Donnie. We're going to be looking in the $90 price range more than over $100. And if you think it starts opening up, well, then we're going to be back down in that 90 to maybe 85 to 90 range. So by the end of April, I think somewhere in between, Donnie, I would say $100 or less, somewhere in that ballpark here is probably the best bet here. But again, this is all going to be driven by, are there still constraints in trying to get oil shipped around the world?
Yeah, by the way, also, like the oil futures are ridiculous here. Like, hey, oil tensions in the Middle East, let's send them up. We already have the oil here that we already paid for at much cheaper prices, but the gas stations jack it up. Don't get me started here on a Monday. I'm starting this week off good. I don't want to get angry about it. Eurovision, Joe, you ever hear about that? Best song from a certain country. You say, well, where would that be? Got to be the U.S. is the favorite. No,
right.
Finland, Joe, 37%. What are the Finns doing out there right now in music?
I have absolutely no idea, Donnie, what they're doing at all. But again, I do know in these kinds of markets, right?
Why can't we win this?
Yeah. It's all, and I mean all, about the headlines. And that's where the volatility comes in. So, yeah, I think the Eurovision winner with Finland at 37 cents. I don't know what they were trading a month or 2 months ago, Donnie, but I'm going to gather to say it probably was less than this.
And by the way, quickly, where will 2026 rank amongst the hottest years on record? We're getting a heat wave this week now, Joe. How about that? Could it be this year as the hottest on record? 37% chance.
Yeah, no. I'd be fading. If I had a dime, Donnie, for every time I heard it's going to be the hottest season on record, please. I live in Florida.
The lizards are falling in Florida at this point right now, people. We'll be back tomorrow. See ya.
So much to get into.
So much to get into, so little time. Listen, this is a time of year where it's great basketball. Teams that have to be at their best. Some teams at their best for 40 minutes. Some teams at their best for 36 minutes. But at the end of the day, you got to play your best 40. Otherwise, you're going home like we saw over the last couple of days.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Why are all these contracts being signed, folks? Yes, the players are talented. Yes, they are deserving of it, but it's such goodwill to hand out these buyout arbitration contracts for these young players this time of the year, right before opening day, to get all their fans excited. And notice, right before the Pirates' home opener, not before opening day, before their home opener, to set up.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Kansas City trading as a favorite, Joe. Do we think that's the possibility of that first game?
Yeah, they should make it the Jets, Donnie, so they can guarantee a win in front of their fans to open up the set. I'm just saying. I mean, that's what I would do. But no, ideally, the NFL would love a Kansas City reunion at Buffalo in the new stadium.
Prediction Markets Edge. Only on SportsGrid.
There's a basketball player who's 7'9". He's insignificant on his team. And quite frankly, I don't know if he goes Division 1, 2, or 3 at this point and will be significant. Joe, how can you be 7'9" and not be able to get on the court in college basketball? Shouldn't he be maybe, I don't know, the most dominant shot blocker in the history? I watched Manu Bol be a really good player at times in the NBA.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.